Hello, good evening. Today I'm going to be talking about developing your upper body dynamic flexibility. Just giving you a quick sequence, or rather just a potential sequence, so you can figure out how to develop your own. I think it's very underrated as a warm-up, as just kind of general movement. I think the upper body dynamic stuff is good for releasing tension, which is not always the case with a lot of the static and loaded stretching. It's great for activities like throwing, which I know this channel isn't really known for, but there are benefits. I find it very energizing, right? In general, you can do a bunch of arm swings and you feel good after it, very different than kind of a static stretching session. And I know this channel is known more for handstands and acrobatics. Handstands, you're not going to get too much benefit from dynamic flexibility, but it's still just good for your shoulders in general, because it's just part of, I think, the flexibility spectrum. There's kind of four main four main representations of flexibility, and dynamic is the one that we see the least, with the exception of a couple sports. So, and then I'm not going to talk too much. I do have a video on a dynamic leg flexibility sequence you can do, and I'll put the link up somewhere. But otherwise, we're just going to get started because I've already talked too much. So hopefully the frame is decent. First thing I'm going to do is just swing my arms forwards and backwards. I'm not trying to go for maximum height, maximum speed, anything like that. Just loose, arms are relaxed. I'm getting about horizontal in both the forwards and the backwards plane. And I feel that pendulum motion, so I can feel how the arms get heavier at the bottom and lighter at the top. That's good. That's what we want to feel. Just swing. You can add a little bit of leg drive if you want, because it's going to help your jumps. When I'm teaching acrobatics workshops, I do a lot of work on coordinating the arm swing and the leg action, but right now we're just swinging, so it really doesn't matter that much. I'm going to go one arm forward, one arm backwards. You can keep the body stiff if you want, or you can add a little bit of rotation. This kind of movement style, there's not really any wrong way to do it. The main thing with the arm swings, just in terms of conceptual, you don't want to lift. You don't want to use your muscle to hold the arms up. You want to use the pendulum motion. So think of the arms like ropes, and then you get that centrifuge swinging the blood into your wrists, into your fingers, and we're gonna go all the way back, all the way up. This would be like a jump for a backflip, basically. Is that all the way back, all the way up, 270 degrees maximum swing. If you want to, what I'm playing with now is kind of accelerating that shoulder extension, that backwards part of the jump, so I get a little bit of a pec and a delt stretch during that peak. And then what I can do is accentuate the other side of that. So really swinging the arms back and seeing where they stop. Now, if you're hypermobile, you have to be a little bit careful with that. But if you're not, just let the arms go back. Let them carry you. Kind of feel that natural stopping point. And then what I'm doing now is feeling that stopping point and then reversing it, similar to what I did here. So stop, like almost like I have a ball, right? And I'm throwing it, but then I'm pulling it back down. And this is already very vigorous movement. All I'm doing is swinging my arms. So that's what I meant when it's energizing. Doing this kind of movements, it wakes you up. Just making sure my microphone's not gonna fly off. Relax a little bit. So next movement we're gonna do is kind of for the elbow. So it's almost like I'm throwing a rock, like I'm skipping a rock. So it's kind of that similar movement. It's a throw, and what I'm doing with this throw specifically is I'm keeping a little bit of tension in the wrist. And I don't know how visible that is on camera, but when I do that and I snap that elbow, I get this really nice kind of reverberation in the bicep, which feels really good. So this is kind of this rock skipping movement. Now if I do the same movement but take out the tension in the wrist, it becomes kind of this like flick, like I'm flicking the blood into the hand and into the fingers. And next, we're going to do a little bit of open close. Keep it simple. Arms go back, arms go forward. I can add a little bit of speed if I want to, or I can really focus on accentuating the end. Like I see if I can clap behind my back, which I'm surprised that I was able to do. That's kind of also one of the benefits of dynamic flexibility, is you can go a lot further than you can with the other manifestations of flexibility, right? So I can clap, or I can try to cross in the back. I don't think that's going to happen today. Swing, and we're going to go one arm up, one arm down, alternating. I'm not really counting numbers. This isn't even like necessarily a set pattern that I use. I was kind of doing a bunch of exercises in a row, and you're welcome to follow along, but the point when I do anything follow along is actually not, is for people to follow initially, but then eventually not for them to follow, because they know enough that they can create their own sequences based on their own needs. So we're going to go back to the crisscross, but this time we're going to add rotation. So when we swing the arms out, we're going to turn the thumbs pointing back, and then we're going to try to do internal rotation on the way in. So now it's a little bit different movement. I can't go as far, but now I'm working also that shoulder rotation in the mix, which makes it feel very different in a good way, right? I feel like I'm working a different movement pattern, different muscles. So adding that rotation. The next I'm going to do is twist. So I said upper body, I'm going to add that little bit of spine rotation into it as well. So first twist, I'm just leaving my arms extended out. And what I can do is put my arms in different positions, because that's going to kind of shift the twist into different parts of the spine. So that's step one, twist. Second is the Tai Chi twist, where you let the arms flail like ropes. Counter rotation. Slap yourself in the stomach and in the kidney. You can play with the pacing of that, but my arms are completely loose right now. It's just the twist of the spine that's making me hit myself. And then, so we're going to do arms in. We're going to continue a little bit with the twisting. We're going to throw basically hook punches. So, but not really. It's kind of like a hook punch movement. It's elbow in and then extend it. So I'm adding a little bit of that chest flexibility with some spinal rotation. Other side. This is not, I mean, it's kind of a hook punch movement. This is like, you know, in the stunt world, you would throw a big wide haymaker because you're telegraphing it. See, a boxer isn't going to throw something this big and wide, but the big and wide stuff is a really good warm-up movement to cue that rotation coordinated with the arm movement that follows it. Then we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to go elbow in and then out, right? So now it's kind of like a back fist. Same idea. It's a spinal rotation with the arm. I don't know how many I'm doing of those, like 10, maybe 10. I don't know. I'm not counting numbers. You just go by feel. But all of this, it's a great warm-up for a lot of different activities. And as I mentioned before, I think the dynamic upper body flexibility in general is very overlooked and very underrated. Because yeah, you'll see it in this typical gym class stuff with, like, you know, your basic arm circles. But I think, I guess in the kind of adult fringe fitness community, which I guess is kind of a lot of the followers of the channel, you see it sometimes, but sometimes not enough. So we're gonna do arm circles. My arm is like a rope, it's loose. The main movement is actually coming from my hips. I'm just swinging the arm, hand forwards. Feel that blood rushing to the ends of the hand and the fingers, other arm. Again, with these kind of arm circles, these kind of movements, there's never a point that I'm actively lifting and holding up my own arm. It's all movement that's initiated from the center, and the arm just expresses it. And really let go, let it loose. You should be able to get nice big circles. Even if you don't have a lot of arm flexibility, you should still be able to create some bigger circles here. So that's forwards and backwards. We can do figure eight, right? Infinity. If you want to be a little bit more cognizant of the rotation that's happening, so you can just leave your arm relaxed and do the figure eight. You can do only arm, or you can add a little bit of extra body movement as well. And if you want to be a bit more cognizant of the rotation, you can think about the pinky. So the pinky goes up, pinky goes up, pinky, pinky. And then that way you're adding a little bit more rotation into the mix. Really nice movement. And backwards. Other arm. Right, and yeah, like I said, there's nothing wrong with any of this. So as long as you're doing it and you're utilizing the speed and momentum, that's really all you need. Doesn't matter how much isolation you have or how much extra movement in the body you want to do. We can go forwards. So this time it's I like to aim with the ridge of the hand. So you can do thumb, or you can just tuck the thumb in and think ridge hand, but similar figure eight movement, just done on the other side, or sorry, in the other direction. And other arm. And yeah, everything is exploration. So if you want to keep it a little bit more tight, you kind of have to hold it up like that. So that's something I'll do sometimes with a club, right? If I'm using an Indian club or something, I might explore with big circles and then small circles. But I think with just the hand, the big circles are enough. And then we'll do both arms at the same time, figure eights. Right, so again, if you want to be really strict with the body, you can. Minimal movement, or you can allow the spine and the hips to move to facilitate the swing of the arms. I can also go both arms forwards. Just simple patterns, simple sequence. Feel good afterwards. So you can use this as a warm-up, or maybe you're sitting at your desk, sitting at your computer too long. Take 5-10 minutes, do some arm swings. You're gonna feel better. Okay, last movement for today is imaginary throw. So you're gonna throw this imaginary ball and make sure there's no simple. You can be strict, but this is really a movement that works well if you use your feet, you use your hips, you use everything. So you get this big stretch in the back, through the spine, through the tricep, through the external rotation, and then snap. And obviously be careful, show discretion if you have worked through some shoulder injuries, because there is a lot of force involved in the shoulder. I think overall this is just a good, even if you're not a thrower. I'm not a thrower. I played baseball when I was like 13, right? I don't really throw things anymore, but I just still find it to be a fantastic movement for warm up, just general body movement, because there's so many things happening in that throw. And I love that feeling. Oh yeah, do both arms. It might be a nice coordination challenge to do it with your other arm. But yeah, I just love that feeling of the snap. Even though, like I said, I'm not a throwing athlete by any means, but I think there's a lot of benefit in working some throwing patterns into your routine. Whew. So, I'm breathing a little bit, heart rate's up. Yeah, basically just a simple sequence. You can change it up, you can add or subtract. I'm just showing you a number of dynamic arm flexibility exercises that you can utilize that hopefully is going to help you in your practice, help you feel better, hopefully just add a little bit more basic movement into your lifestyle. So let me know what you think. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see on this channel, because I'm always open to ideas. I try to put out videos when I can, but schedule is a bit random right now, so no guarantees, but I will continue putting stuff up on this YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe if you like my content. Other than that, I'll see you next time.